Okay, guys, let's fast forward to August 7th. The Herald published another piece on the Orion project. This piece began as a series on the topic. Now, do I believe that this would have been a series had our group not shaken up the comment section of the Herald's Facebook page? Absolutely not. But what does an out of town newspaper have in common with an out of state energy broker? Apparently, quite a bit. So let's dig into this next article. So, this article was written in response to Orion joining the Chamber of Commerce and hosting another event. At least they got one part right. Orion wants to site a massive solar power plant in the heart of Franklin County. But make no mistake, this is not a farm. Here he goes on about Orion being founded by four pioneers in renewable energy. So, two of them are these guys. Do you remember our first video when we talked about the Orion leaders who started a little mini pack designed to help children learn to vote blue? If you haven't seen it, you really should. Anyway, here it says Franklin County can be added to Orion's track record thanks to the energy company's Prairie Sunlight project. No, thank you. Not if the majority of our county has anything to say about it. Alicia Smith, the Orion saleswoman attached to this project, got it wrong when she claimed that the majority of leasing landowners are active farmers. Let's break it down. Leaseholders who still actively farm their ground are the Legals, John Ray, Michael Fehrenbach, the Taylors, the McFarlands. Now we add in the leaseholders who don't farm their own ground. And there are two that we honestly don't know what they do with their land. Then Alicia mentions a battery energy storage system on site. She then touched on why they targeted our county, and the main reason is landowner excitement. I mean, that makes sense that these landowners are excited about receiving taxpayer handouts without any effort. Here's some more fluff, nothing we haven't heard before. Orion's been mostly well received, which is absolutely totally false. They mentioned the open house in March in our group outside like a protest or something, and Kressner said most of his talks in Franklin County have been positive. I don't believe the landowners can say the same. They also say that landowners will retain ownership of the land, but as you'll see later on in the video, that's not the case for everyone. Okay, friends, check this out. Orion wants to build a relationship with Franklin County based on trust. Yeah, that's why there were 6 years of secrecy. All those brokers and landowners having these sneaky little meetings, scattering the moment someone turned on the light like a cockroach. Alicia makes a really good point. Trust is earned, and she believes that they're being a good neighbor. But a bunch of suits from California, well, they probably have no idea what that even means. Now, the betrayal from a handful of our neighbors, well, they know exactly what they did. We discussed how the project will be sited away from property lines and homes with pollinator-friendly landscaping, where we'd hardly even notice over 3,000 acres of Chinese-made glass, and that neighbors will be able to use their land as we see fit. Although, even though they refuse to put it in writing, either way, we all know the first time a baler catches fire and spreads into the solar plant and damages even a single panel, that farmer will be expected to have enough liability insurance to cover their losses. I love this quote at the end here. Solar projects, by their nature, make good neighbors. They don't produce air emissions or generate odor. They don't use water, and outside of a short construction period, they don't generate road traffic and add to congestion. If they're such good neighbors, how come they had to add this little fun fact to their lease? Section 7.8, Noise, Glare, and Shadow. The lessee shall have the right in connection with the construction, use, and operation of the solar facilities to emit or cause the emission of noise to impact owners' view of and from the property, and to allow or permit the solar facilities to cast shadows and to create, cause, and emit glare or shadow onto the property and adjacent properties. You know, the neighbors. The owner waives any right to object. Tell me, friends, do these look like good neighbors? I mean, this almost looks like a prison. Does this look like a good neighbor? While we're at it, take a look at that beautiful pollinator-friendly landscaping they've got going on. This just isn't the view that so many Franklin County homeowners worked so hard to have to come home to. On to the next section. Prairie Sunlight is environmentally promoting. Unlike other types of industrial, commercial, or residential development, Orion said Prairie Sunlight will have a positive impact on soil quality during the project's development, completion, and decommission. Orion said its project will preserve farm ground, much like CRP does. During construction, the project will carefully plan for minimized grading and controlling runoff. After construction, the project will install and maintain ground cover throughout the solar site that is specifically meant to control noxious weeds, increase water retention, reduce runoff, and increase soil nutrients. After prairie sunlight reaches the end of its operational life, Orion is obligated by county regulations and agreements with landowners to fully decommission the solar facility and return the land to its original use. Okay, let's unpack this statement first. Nobody with above a sixth grade education honestly believes that it's environmentally friendly to chop down all of the trees, scrape the topsoil off the land, pack the soil down, drainage be damned, only to drive hundreds or even thousands of coated metal pylons into the ground to frame a lot of glass. Also, I won't let my dogs eat treats made in China because of all the arsenic and lead that's used in producing things over there. But solar panels even advertise that they're filled with cadmium and lead, among other things. With so many of them damaged during installation, and even more at risk anytime a typical Kansas storm hits, can you imagine the land actually being what it is today? I think that this statement is Orion's attempt to baffle us with bullshit. So these landowner agreements, well, they only count if all the parties entering into the agreement remain the same. So according to Orion Renewables website, Orion has over 30 projects that they've brokered that we know of, and they still own and operate only 2. None of the 6 solar projects that they have completed remain in their hands, with most changing hands before a single panel went in the ground. So Orion's promises that we keep hearing about, who's going to hold Orion Renewables out of Oakland, California, responsible and accountable to keep their promises? I wanted to add, when I first started this, there were only 30 or so projects with only 6 solar. The very next day, I went to fact check something and I looked on the Orion page, and suddenly there were many, many more added, including 4 additional solar. And as you can see, 2 of them are built in 2024 and 2 of them are built in 2025. And if you look closely, you can see that they have already changed hands and they are no longer owned by Orion. Talking about landowners and promises, we can't forget around how half of the land in recorded leases also include these purchase options. We keep hearing how after 30 or so years, the land will return to these farm families to be restored to their 2024 glory, or better. But do we really think the power company has agriculture in mind when buying up so much prime farm ground? Or will the Legal farm, the Fehrenbach farm, or any of the other farms currently leased with purchase options be utilized for something else? With no farmer holding the power company accountable, how do we know that these beautiful parcels of Franklin County farmland won't become the next Avergy EPA violation? Okay, friends, we have unpacked quite a bit already in this article, but there's still more to go. So that's going to be in our little part 2 of video 2.